Four-step execution method. For someone like me, I have a lot of ideas all the time, and at times it becomes very hard to pick the right ideas. Over the last 12 years of running my company, I've made many mistakes and failed at many initiatives. I understand some of you are lean startup fans and would say that, hey, failing's not all that bad, and as long as you learn from it, run everything like an experiment and fail forward. Well, all that is true, but in order to increase your chances of success in everything you do, you can use this framework. You can learn from our failures and have much better odds at successful execution of your ideas. These 4 steps provide a systematic approach to achieving breakthrough results. Let's get started. The first step is to identify and focus on the outcome goal. An outcome goal is a single, clear, and measurable goal that will have the greatest impact on your company's overall success. For example, if a company wants to increase revenue, its outcome goal might be to increase sales by 20% in the next quarter. This goal is specific and achievable, and it is directly tied to the organization's success. By focusing on this one outcome goal, your company can avoid spreading its efforts too thin and achieve meaningful progress towards its most important goals. Why do almost all of us struggle to narrow our focus? It's not because we don't think that focus is not needed. Most of us would acknowledge a need for greater focus. Despite this desire, we continue to find ourselves with too many competing priorities, pulling our teams in too many directions. One of the first things I want you to know is that you're not alone. The inability of leaders to focus is a problem of epidemic proportions. Simply put, this step is about applying more energy against fewer goals, because when it comes to setting goals, the law of diminishing returns is at play. If you focus on 2 or even 3 goals beyond the demands of your daily routine, you can often accomplish them. However, if you set 4 to 10 goals, my experience has been that you will achieve only 1 or 2 of them. You'll be going backwards if you go after 11 to 20 goals in addition to your daily tasks. You lose all of the focus. And now, why is this so? The fundamental principle at work in step 1 is that human beings are genetically hardwired to do things one at a time, and that too if you want to do it with excellence. You're probably thinking proudly that you're great at multitasking and can get a lot of things done at the same time, but to the most important goal you want to devote your best effort. So you don't want to be multitasking when you have your most important outcome goal in front of you. Now, Steve Jobs had a big company to run, and he could have proudly brought many products to the market than he did, but he chose to focus on a handful of extremely important outcome goals. These products were his extreme focus. His focus was legendary, and so were his results. Science tells us that human brain can give full focus to only single object at any given moment. You can't even give your best effort to driving a car while talking on mobile and eating a burger, let alone juggling multiple important business goals at once. MIT neuroscientist Earl Miller says trying to concentrate on 2 tasks causes an overload of brain's processing capacity, particularly when people try to perform similar tasks at the same time. Like, have you ever tried writing an email while talking on the phone? They compete to use the same part of your brain. Trying to carry too much, the brain simply slows down. If this is true of simple tasks like processing emails and phone calls, think about impact of losing focus on goals that could transform your business. So the prefrontal cortex, the brain's gateway, just can't handle the daily flood that comes at us because it is designed to deal with teaspoons rather than tidal waves of information. In our culture of multitasking, according to Professor Clifford Nass of Stanford University, the neural circuits devoted to scanning, skimming, and multitasking are expanding and strengthening, while those used for reading, thinking deeply with sustained concentration are weakening or eroding in today's world. Now, what's the consequence of all of this? Number 1, one, habitual multitaskers may be sacrificing performance on your outcome goals. Secondly, improving your ability to multitask actually hampers your ability to think deeply and creatively. So the more you multitask, the less deliberate you are. The less deliberate you become, the less you are able to think and reason out a problem. The best way to leverage the brain's capacity is to concentrate on one most important goal at a time, while still being aware of the other priorities. There is no better illustration of this principle than an airport control tower. Right now, more than 100 airplanes might be approaching Dallas-Fort Worth or taking off or taxiing around, and all of them are extremely important. But for the Dallas air traffic controller, only one airplane is most important right now, the one that's landing at this moment. The controller is aware of all the other planes on the radar. She's keeping track of all of them, but right now her talent and expertise are solely focused on one flight. If she doesn't get that one flight on ground safely with total excellence, then nothing else she might achieve is really going to matter much. She lands one airplane at a time. Imagine this. Tim Cook said this to Apple shareholders: "We are the most focused company that I know of, or have read of, or have any knowledge of. We say no to great ideas in order to keep the number of things we focus on very small in number, so that we can put enormous energy behind the ones we do choose." The table each of you is sitting on today, you could probably put every product on it that Apple makes. Yet, Apple's revenue last year was 40 billion. Well, that was a long time ago, and the revenue of Apple is almost 10 times bigger now, so think about it. You must have heard the story of the boy who cried wolf. It comes from Aesop's fables. There is another story from the same literature. A young boy put his hand into a pot full of hazelnuts. He grasped as many as he could possibly hold, but when he tried to pull his hand out, he found that the neck of the pot was too narrow. Unwilling to lose the catch, and yet unable to withdraw his hand, he burst into tears and bitterly lamented his disappointment. Like the boy, you might find it hard to let go of a lot of good goals until you start serving a greater goal. As Steve Jobs often said, "I'm proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do." The second step is to apply disproportionate energy to activities. The specific actions that will drive progress towards the most important goal is very important. Think of this as atomic habits, the activities that drive results. What would you do every single day to take advantage of the compounding effects over a long period of time? It is like, I want to increase sales. I would apply disproportionate energy towards generating introduction meetings with prospects, or perhaps in creating those touch points with my prospects across various channels. This step 2 requires you to define the daily or weekly activities, achievement of which will lead to you achieving your goals. Then, each day of week, you will identify activities, the most important actions that will drive those activities. In this way, you're creating a just-in-time plan that enables you to quickly adapt while remaining focused on the outcome goal. Let us take some examples. Imagine a sales leader fixates on total sales. The service leader fixates on the customer satisfaction. Parents fixate on children's grades, and dieters fixate on the scale. And in virtually every case, fixating solely on the KPIs fails to drive results. There are 2 reasons why we all do this. First, these KPIs are measures of success. They are the results you have to achieve, so it's easy for us to sway towards those. Second, data on these KPIs is almost always much easier to obtain and more visible than data on activities. It's easy to step on the scale and know exactly how much you weigh, but it's very difficult to count your calories that you've had all day. The data is often hard to get, and it can take real discipline to getting it. I used to be over 200 pounds, and one time when I went skydiving, they charged me an extra $40 because of my weight, and that was it. I decided to manage my weight better, and I think I've done a decent job. I still need to build those ab muscles before I head to Europe for the summer. How did I achieve these results? By limiting my calorie intake, so I do 1 meal a day and exercise every day, but it gets tough when I'm traveling. See, there's a huge difference between merely understanding the importance of diet and exercise exercise and measuring how many calories you've eaten and how many have you burned. Everyone knows you should diet and exercise, but people who actually measure how many calories they've eaten and how many they've burned each day are the ones that actually lose weight. In the end, it's the data on the leading indicators or the activities that make the difference, that enables you to close the gap between what you know you should do and what you are actually doing. Without activity, you are left to just try to manage the traditional KPIs, an approach that seldom produces significant results. W. Edwards Deming, the management and quality guru, said it the best, that managing a company by looking at financial data, the KPIs, is equivalent to driving a car by looking in the rearview mirror. Imagine another scenario. You and your team have been working hard on a goal to improve customer satisfaction. It's your most important KPI and the one on which your bonus is based on. And the new customer satisfaction scores have just arrived in your inbox. As one of your clients expressed it, you're about to have one of the two reactions: oh cool, or oh no. But either way, there is nothing you can do to change the results. They are in the past. Now imagine instead if you're tracking the two most predictive activities that lead to customer satisfaction, and for the past 3 weeks your team has performed well above the standard on those activities. Do you think your experience will change with the new customer satisfaction results? Absolutely. It'll be like stepping onto a scale knowing that you've met your diet and exercise measures every single day. You already know that the KPIs will change. Alright, moving along, the third step is to keep a compelling scorecard that tracks progress towards your outcome goals and the activities. The scorecard should be visible and be updated frequently to keep you engaged and motivated. There's a famous saying, what you measure is what you can control or influence. If you want to influence some results in your life, start measuring them. Alex Hormozi said in one of his videos that when he was broke, he would check his bank account every single day until he had a lot of money. I know that I measured my weight every day for 2 years as soon as I come out of the shower. Remember, people play differently when they are keeping scores. There are 4 rules for keeping a score. Number 1, KISS. Keep it simple and stupid. Number 2, can I see it easily? It has to be visible to you all the time. Number 3, does it show activity and outcome goals both? It should show both, as it really helps the scorecard come to life. The activity is what the team can affect. The outcome goals is something, the results that you want. You need to see both or you'll quickly lose interest. And number 4, can I tell at a glance if I'm winning? It has to tell you immediately if you're winning or losing. If you can't tell within 5 seconds whether you're winning or losing, then you need to improve your scoreboard. Alright, moving along. Now, you have set your singular outcome goal and you are measuring the activity, you're keeping a score. The final step in our 4-step process is accountability. Or more like creating a cadence of accountability, which involves regular meetings and check-ins to review your progress, adjust plans, and hold yourself accountable to your commitments. This can happen by involving a coach or meditating and just being aware. I have found that meditating 2 hours every day can change your life, and you would be able to hold yourself accountable much more than when you're not meditating at all. Why is the cadence of accountability so important? Well, let's take an example. So, a friend of mine who has a teenage daughter who just learned how to drive, her mom and her teenage daughter made an agreement that she would be allowed to use the car if she washed it every Saturday morning. The mother would meet her each Saturday to make sure that the car was clean. They met on Saturday for several weeks and everything went well. But then she had to go out of town to New Jersey for 2 Saturdays in a row. When she returned, she found the car had not been cleaned. She asked her daughter why she hadn't taken care of her job. And she replied, "Oh, are we still doing that?" It took only 2 weeks for the accountability system to break down. So that was very, very important in making sure that you take care of the final step. Now, keep in mind, if you want more details on this framework, then you could also read the original book where I got a lot of the ideas that are very inspiring. The book is called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. It's written by Chris McChesney, Sean Covey, the famous author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and Jim Hulling. So these are the authors that wrote this book, and this is our 4-step process. In this process, again, for summary, what do we do in this process? Well, we have a 4-step execution method, and in this process, the first step is outcome goal. So go ahead and set a single, clear, and measurable goal that would have the greatest impact on your success or your company's success. Then we go to the step 2. The second step is to apply disproportionate energy to activities, the specific actions that will drive progress towards your most important goal. And then we go to step 3, which is to keep a scorecard. When you're not measuring something, you are unable to influence it. And step 4, keep a cadence of accountability. So follow these 4 steps and leave some comments below if it works for you. Thank you very much. If you like this video, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to produce more content for you like this by doing a lot of research. So until next time, goodbye.